Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's deep dive is a little different.
Oh, is that right?
It is, it is. We're going to be exploring these daily prayers,
Okay.
written by someone who's navigating sobriety, and they're doing it within a 12-step program. Now, before you think, oh, this is for a specific listener, or this isn't for me, trust me.
Yeah.
These prayers, they offer some surprisingly practical wisdom, really.
Absolutely.
And you can apply it to your life no matter who you are or where you're at.
We're going to unpack how these daily reflections, they can illuminate a path,
Yeah.
not just towards sobriety from substances, but sobriety from anything that might be holding you back in life.
Mm-hmm.
Fear, self-doubt,
Okay.
that kind of thing.
All right, so let's dive right into this. We have 30 prayers, one for each day of September. What struck me right off the bat was this, intense gratitude for sobriety,
Oh, yeah.
but also this understanding that it's just a starting point. It's like
Yeah.
this person sees sobriety as a stepping stone
Maybe.
to something much bigger.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not about, simply abstaining from something.
Right.
It's about using that freedom, that new space,
Yeah.
to build a whole new way of being.
Yeah.
And you see this beautifully illustrated in the prayer for September 2nd, finding a reason to believe. It acknowledges that even when life feels shaky, uncertain,
Yeah.
there's still a purpose, a reason to keep going. And this theme of finding purpose, that resonates deeply with this 12-step philosophy,
Right.
which really emphasizes connecting with a, quote, higher power.
Now, I know that higher power idea can be a little ambiguous.
It can.
For folks, especially those who don't, subscribe to a specific religion.
Yeah.
But what I find interesting is how this individual interprets it. It's less about a deity
Right.
and more about this idea of tapping into a force beyond yourself.
Yeah.
Be it community, nature, art, whatever resonates, right?
Yeah.
That gives you strength, that gives you guidance.
Absolutely. And it's about recognizing that you're not alone in your struggles.
Right.
Yeah. You see this reflected in the prayer for September 6th, removing threats to sobriety.
Right.
And it's not just about, don't drink or don't do drugs, whatever it is.
Right.
It's about identifying, confronting the things that threaten your well-being. Could be toxic relationships,
Oh, interesting.
negative self-talk, bad habits.
Yeah.
So it really encourages you to take a hard look at your environment and make conscious choices to build a life that actually supports your growth.
That's what got me thinking, how often do we stay stuck in situations that are holding us back?
All the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we haven't identified them as threats
It's so true.
to our well-being. And it's like this prayer is saying, hey, you have the power to shape your environment.
You do.
Choose the influences that'll help you thrive.
Right. It's about empowerment. And you really see this shift from fear to action.
Okay.
In the prayer for September 7th, Our Side of the Street.
Okay.
This one really resonated with me.
Yeah.
Because it's about taking responsibility
Yeah.
for your actions, your reactions, your choices.
It's so easy to blame other people.
It is. It's so easy to blame external circumstances.
Right. Exactly.
But this prayer challenges us to look inward and say, okay, what can I do differently?
It's a powerful shift.
It is.
It can be uncomfortable, but ultimately so liberating.
Precisely. And that ownership, that willingness to look inward, paves the way for incredible growth.
Yeah.
It's like the author is building a new life from the ground up, brick by brick.
And speaking of rebuilding, the prayer for September 4th, reconstruction.
Yes, yes.
This one really stood out to me as well because this person talks about using the principles of their recovery,
Right.
honesty, self-reflection, service to others,
Yeah.
to create something entirely new and meaningful with their life.
That's the beauty of it.
It's not just about piecing together what was broken,
Right, exactly.
It's about designing a life
Yes.
that reflects your values.
It's about transformation.
Yes.
And a key part of that transformation is learning to manage your emotions in a healthy way. This is a theme that emerges in the prayer for September 5th, emotional balance.
Okay.
It recognizes that life, is full of ups and downs.
It is.
But instead of being ruled by those fluctuations, those emotional roller coasters,
Right.
it encourages you to find a sense of inner peace
Yeah.
that can ground you amidst all the chaos.
It's like they're saying sobriety isn't about deprivation. It's about, gaining the tools to navigate life's challenges with more grace and resilience.
Absolutely. It's like opening a door to a future you couldn't even see before
Yeah.
because you were so clouded, right?
Yeah.
By whatever it was that was holding you back.
It reminds me of the September 9th prayer opening new doors. It's like by confronting their challenges.
Yeah.
By doing the work, this person has unlocked possibilities that were always there,
Right.
just hidden in plain sight. And this journey, of self-discovery, it requires a healthy dose of humility, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Humility is key. And you see this beautifully articulated in the prayer for September 10th, recovery by humility.
Yeah.
It emphasizes that true growth comes from letting go of the need to be right,
Yeah.
to be in control, to have all the answers.
Yeah.
It's about accepting your imperfections,
Be open.
being open to learning and evolving.
It's not about being perfect. It's about being willing to stumble. Ask for help.
That's it.
Embrace the messy process of becoming a better version of yourself.
And that takes courage.
It does.
To face your mistakes, to make amends,
Yeah.
to choose growth over comfort.
That's
And that's where the September 11th prayer comes in. Courage to act.
okay.
It highlights the bravery it takes to acknowledge when you're wrong, to make things right,
Yeah.
to choose a different path.
Right.
It's in those moments of courage where real transformation happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that courage to act often requires us to take responsibility,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
which can be so tough,
It can be really hard.
but so powerful. And the prayer for September 12th, embracing responsibility, really hits on this. It's about acknowledging your role in the situation
Mm-hmm.
without blaming others or making excuses.
Yeah, it's like finally stepping into the driver's seat of your own life.
Right.
Even if you weren't always the best driver in the past,
That's right.
But you're owning your mistakes and choosing to learn from them. It made me think about, the impact our actions have on other people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how do you even begin to repair the damage you've caused?
That's where the prayers for September 13th and 14th come in, repairing the damage and peace of mind.
Yeah.
They're not shying away from the hard work of making amends.
Right.
This person is facing their past with honesty and a genuine desire to make things right.
It sounds like a long and difficult process.
It can be. But as a prayer for September 14th emphasizes, there's an incredible sense of peace that comes with taking those steps towards making amends, like a weight lifted off your shoulders.
And that peace of mind, that sense of closure, it allows you to fully embrace your new life, right?
Exactly. You see that in the prayer for September 15th, a new life. There's this overwhelming sense of gratitude for their sobriety, for the support system they found, and for the opportunity to live a life filled with purpose and joy.
That sense of community really shines through in a lot of these prayers.
It does.
It's like they're recognizing the power of human connection, of not having to go through this alone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This person's journey highlights the importance of having people you can lean on who understand what you're going through and can offer encouragement along the way. The prayer for September 16th, Standing Together, perfectly captures this sentiment.
Yeah.
It's about realizing you don't have to be strong all the time.
Right.
It's okay to ask for help, to lean on others, to be vulnerable.
And in helping each other, we end up helping ourselves, right?
Precisely. It's about recognizing that interconnectedness, that we're all in this together. One of the most striking things I noticed throughout these prayers is how the author's relationship with fear evolves.
Oh, how so?
At the beginning, there's a lot of fear of relapse, fear of the unknown. But as they move through the steps, that fear starts to dissipate and is replaced by this incredible sense of freedom.
Oh, I see it. It's like they're trading fear for faith.
Yes.
Faith in themselves, faith in the process, faith in that higher power, however they choose to define it. It's really beautiful to witness.
You see this shift so clearly in the prayer for September 17th, Freedom from Fear. It's about letting go of the fears that once controlled them and embracing a life guided by trust.
It makes you wonder, what could we accomplish if we weren't so afraid to fail, to be vulnerable, to step outside of our comfort zones? I'm also struck by the recurring theme of love in these prayers,
Well, absolutely.
particularly in the context of recovery.
It's a love that's unconditional, forgiving, and incredibly powerful. It's about learning to love yourself, again, flaws and all, and extending that same grace to others.
Like in the prayer for September 18th, Loved Back to Recovery, it's like they're rediscovering what it means to love and be loved.
Yes.
Not just by others, but also by themselves.
And that love becomes a driving force in their journey. It allows them to forgive themselves for past mistakes, to connect with others on a deeper level, and to approach life with more empathy and compassion.
And it's not just about romantic love. It's about a deep sense of connection and belonging, finding your people, your tribe, the ones who get you.
Exactly. You see this so beautifully in the prayer for September 23rd, I belong. It's about finding a community where you feel seen, heard, and understood. A place where you can be yourself without judgment.
Which brings us back to the importance of acceptance, right?
Yes,
Acceptance of yourself, acceptance of others, and acceptance of the journey with all its ups and downs.
absolutely.
Right.
And that acceptance paves the way for even greater growth and healing. The more we can accept ourselves and our circumstances, the more open we become to the possibility of transformation. But let's be real, it's one thing to talk about acceptance and surrender.
Right.
It's another thing entirely to actually live it.
So true. It's an ongoing practice, a daily choice.
It is.
It's not always easy, but these prayers remind us that even small steps taken consistently over time can lead to incredible change.
I agree.
It's about progress, not perfection, right?
Exactly. It's about showing up every day and doing the work, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. And these daily reflections provide a framework for that ongoing practice.
It's like they're creating a new way of being in the world one day at a time.
Yes.
And that's something we can all aspire to, whether or not we're in recovery from addiction. What I find incredibly powerful about these prayers is that they offer a framework for daily reflection. They encourage us to examine our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, and to align ourselves with our values.
Absolutely. It's about cultivating that self-awareness, that ability to step outside of yourself and observe your thoughts and behaviors without judgment.
And that self-awareness, like, wouldn't you say that's the foundation for being able to make conscious choices in your life?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if you're not paying attention to your thoughts and your feelings, you're just kind of running on autopilot.
Exactly.
Self-awareness allows you to hit the pause button before reacting,
Okay.
to make choices that are actually aligned with what you value, rather than just being driven by old patterns and habits.
Yeah.
And a big part of that, as we've seen in these prayers, is this willingness to surrender,
Yeah.
to let go of the need to control everything and trust that there's something, bigger than yourself guiding you along the way.
That theme of surrender, it almost feels paradoxical.
It does, right?
Because it's like, okay, you're working so hard to change your life, but then there's this element of letting go,
Right.
of surrendering to something outside of yourself. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
It's a beautiful paradox, though. And it's where you find that true peace and freedom. You can see this so clearly in the prayer for September 8th. We asked his protection.
Okay.
It's about acknowledging that you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders.
Mhm.
There's a certain comfort and strength in knowing you're not alone in your struggles.
And that peace allows you to kind of approach life's challenges with like more resilience and more grace.
Hmm.
As we get further into these prayers, I'm noticing how this person's perspective on their past kind of evolves. At first, there's a lot of guilt, shame, maybe even some anger about the things they've done. But as they work through the steps, those feelings, they seem to transform into something else. What do you see happening there?
Well, I think what we see is the incredible power of forgiveness. Not just forgiving others, but also, and perhaps more importantly, forgiving themselves. It's about acknowledging the past,
Yeah.
taking responsibility for their actions, making amends where possible. And then, this is the important part, releasing the grip that guilt and shame have on them.
It's like they're finally realizing they're not defined by their past mistakes. They're free to create a new story for themselves, one rooted in hope and healing.
And that shift in perspective, it's so beautifully articulated in the prayer for September 20th, higher power as guide.
Yeah.
They're letting go of that need to control everything and trusting that they're being guided toward a brighter future. And it's not about forgetting the past, right? It's about choosing to learn from it and move forward with a renewed sense of purpose. And I think what's really inspiring is to see how this person eventually comes to embrace the idea of service, of helping others who are struggling with addiction. It's like by healing themselves, they naturally want to share that healing with others.
It's like this natural progression. You see it a lot in recovery. It's like as you find that healing, that strength within yourself, you want to reach out. You want to extend a hand to others that are going through similar challenges.
Absolutely. It becomes less about you and more about being a part of something larger than yourself.
And in helping others, they end up strengthening their own recovery.
That's it, is this beautiful upward spiral.
You see this reflected in the prayers for September 27th and 28th, without reservation and love without strings. Like, This person is learning to give freely
Yes.
without expecting anything in return, and that shift in perspective is so powerful.
It's the essence of true compassion and empathy.
And then finally, we reach the prayer for September 30th, the circle and the triangle. This one to me feels like a culmination of everything that we've been talking about.
It really does. It's
Yeah.
about finding that balance in life, you know. Caring for yourself, but also showing up for others,
Yeah.
nurturing your physical, your mental, your spiritual well-being. It's about recognizing that we're all connected. We're all part of something so much larger than ourselves.
And that no matter what challenges we face in life, we don't have to go through it alone. There's always support available if we're just willing to reach out, to be vulnerable, to connect with other people. What a powerful message to end on. So, what does this all mean for our listeners? What are we taking away from this deep dive?
You know, I think these prayers offer a powerful reminder that no matter what you're facing in life, whether it's addiction or heartbreak or loss or fear, there is always hope. There's always a path forward, even when you can't see it.
It's about embracing that journey with all of its ups and downs and trusting that you're being guided towards a brighter future. And remember, it's not about being perfect, right? It's about being willing to keep learning, keep growing, keep moving forward.
One day at a time, one step at a time.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into daily prayers from a 12-step program. We hope you found it as insightful and thought-provoking as we did. Until next time, take care.